Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley, and today I am speaking with Dr. Jili Chung. He is the author of Innovations Crouching Tiger, a fellow at the MIT Sloan School of Management, and a founder of Spring IP. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm really excited to dive into our topic today on the new regulations on personal data in China.
Thank you so much for having this talk, Ashley.
So, as you have probably heard by now, over the past few years, China has started moving in the direction of increasing personal data protection. But in 2021, the legal work was formally established and now continues to evolve. These new regulations in personal data security are pushing companies both domestically and internationally to adjust their business framework. And these new regulations have very real and very serious implications for anybody who infringes upon them. Morgan Stanley has even described these current changes as China's regulatory reset. Dr. Chung, who we'll be speaking with today, believes that we knew that these regulations were coming all along. And what I want to know is what events led up to these new regulations and how did we know that they were coming?
Yes, actually, a number of incidents have foreseen the new regulations coming. As early as January 2018, that is about 3 years ago, the magazine The Economist first noted that consumers in China had become more anxious about data privacy. Also, the news concerning Chinese business leaders have hinted that the change of the attitude among Chinese people toward the privacy issue. For example, in 2018, Baidu CEO Robin Li shared his view that Chinese citizens tend to exchange privacy for convenience. For this statement, he received severe criticism and attack from the public. More recently, in 2020, China's artificial intelligence expert Li Kaifu casually mentioned in the talk that an example of data sharing practice in the AI industry. He immediately received a serious notice from the parties involved because such practice may indicate personal privacy violation. So in the past few years, we have heard similar news or story from time to time and with an increased frequency. So it's not surprised that such growing consensus has finally become a coded law, actually.
Thank you. It's really interesting to hear how attitudes towards personal data security have evolved over the years in China. And these are probably also reactions to the EU's new GDPR, their new personal data regulations as well. So can you tell me first a little bit about how these changes are affecting business domestically in China?
Yes, the new regulation framework has been affecting at least 3 areas. First, the e-commerce supply chain. Second, the innovation of AI and big data. And third, blockchain adoption. Let me explain in this order. Okay. So first, many e-commerce businesses have to upgrade the security of their digital transaction systems. For example, Alibaba had to update its exchange platform by the end of 2021, so as to comply with the data protection requirement. The result is that so-called precision advertising used online has now become further complicated. And secondly, Alibaba, Tencent, and Baidu have been global leaders in AI and big data innovation. Their success has attracted international capital to China's innovation ecosystem. But now with less data available, we will naturally see a slower iteration of algorithm in the consumer side of AI application. And third, on the bright side, we now see more business models emerging in blockchain. Blockchain-based solutions offer a more transparent, safe, and fair use of personal data that allows this relevant business model to continue to grow in China, actually.
Now, even though these new regulations create more hurdles for many companies, it's wonderful to hear that they're also allowing for the emergence of new business opportunities. Now, because these are such major changes, I'm sure they also have great implications for businesses internationally too. So can you tell us a bit more about what some of those primary implications are for international professionals and businesses?
Great, thanks for asking. Indeed, there are many implications for business all over the world. The international e-commerce industry feels the most impacts from this regulation. China's trading partner need to cope with the new business environment, even outside of China, and comply with the new law. To give you an example, the business intelligence company IDC has forecasted that the market for data solution will reach a value of 300 billion US globally and 80 billion RMB in China in 2023.
Just like how international business professionals need to stay compliant with GDPR for EU citizens, businesses must now stay compliant with China's new data security regulations for their consumers who are residents in China. And one thing that you write about in your book that I find really interesting is how important it is to understand the cultural characteristics of China and how understanding these cultural characteristics can help us to better understand innovation and the regulations in China. So I'm really curious to hear how this perspective can be applied to this situation, the new data security rules in China.
Yes, we all know that constitutional law provide a foundation for any country. It is also a good reference for cultural characteristics in that country, just like you mentioned. So the same applies in China. Interestingly, there is a section in China's constitutional law that says 经济制度的基础是生产资料的社会主义公有制. When roughly translated, it essentially means that the means of production is owned by the people. So Chinese legal scholars have been discussing if data can be considered as a means of production, then should it also be owned by the people?
That's really interesting. Thank you so much for your detailed explanations and insights. It's really interesting to hear how the cultural characteristics can even be found in China's constitution. So with the strengthened borders between China and the rest of the world, it is crucial to get an insider's perspective and not just make assumptions and base our information from the outside looking in. So I want to say thank you so much to Dr. Chung and for everyone for joining us today. And please leave any thoughts or questions in the comments. Feel free to reach out to us. We would love to connect to anybody who's interested. And you can order a copy of Dr. Jili Chung's book, Innovations Crouching Tiger, on Amazon. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn at IC Tiger 2020. We also cover many different topics such as these on IP and these new data regulations and much more on our blog at ictiger2020.com. So thank you everybody again, and I hope to see you all next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.